Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Denver's online Sunday service. We are a loving, prosperous community in the heart of Capitol Hill, and now here online. And we'll continue to meet online until further notice. As plans are made to return to in-person services, we'll keep you up to date via our newsletter. If you need to sign up for the newsletter, just hop over to csldenver.org and hit the sign up button. We only send one email per week, and we want to make sure you know about all our new events, information, and announcements as they happen. And speaking of new announcements, we will soon be hosting a virtual spiritual cinema event. Details aren't finalized, and as soon as they are, we'll make sure you know about it on our Facebook page and our weekly newsletter. This week, we are coming back to our Zoom virtual fellowship right after service. If you need a Zoom invitation or the link to enter, just send an email to info@csldenver.org and join us for our virtual fellowship. Finally, on October 4th, next Sunday, Haley Korf will be offering us a virtual healing trauma workshop. This special one-time event is here to support us in understanding what trauma looks like, how to support those in trauma, and how to avoid the trauma itself. Workshop is based on a love offering basis, so there's no reason to skip. Come join us next Sunday for Haley Korf and the Virtual Healing Trauma Workshop. And remember, we are still taking photos of you and all you've been doing this past summer. Please share your memories with us so we may share those with the broader community. I think that's all we've got for announcements this week, folks. Let's get back into the music. Here we go. Get ready and enjoy.
Thank you, Freddie. Beautiful song. I'm Alice Nutter, and welcome this morning. I'm a practitioner here at CSL Denver, and I invite you to join me in an invocation. So please sit back and close your eyes if you feel comfortable. And just knowing that, as Freddie's song says, inside me there is spirit, inside me there is love. And that is the spirit, God, divine wisdom, Buddha, Baharuda, whoever you want to call it. It is that divine nature, that divine love that is in each and every one of us. And so I bless this service. I bless Reverend Robert's words. I bless Freddie's music. I bless all who have chosen to join us here this morning online in person and who choose to watch later in the week, knowing that CSL Denver is so blessed by the love and caring and support of everybody who chooses to call CSL Denver our home. knowing that Spirit guides us, loves us, and moves us into the highest expression of who each and every one of us is. And I bless the people who have been impacted by COVID, by the fires, by the hurricanes, by all that is going on in this world, just knowing that Spirit is there. It is working, living, moving, and breathing each one of us. And I am so grateful. I'm so grateful for this teaching. I am so grateful for this community. And so I am so grateful for knowing the truth of who each and every one of us is. And from that place of deep gratitude, I release this into that one mind, that one heart, knowing that all is well and it is done. And so it is. And our reading this morning comes from Living the Science of Mind by Dr. Ernest Holmes. Self-awareness is not enough. There is an incessant urge back of everything to create, to express life, to come to the gratification of happiness, peace, joy, and self-expression. Self-awareness alone is not enough. It is merely clearing the track for right action. Something has to be done with self-awareness. We are not seeking a way to escape from life or living, for this would be the exact opposite of the whole purpose of existence, which is to express the self. We have hands and feet as well as a mind, and unless the hands and feet are employed together with all our other faculties, we shall not come into complete self-expression. Life must be expansive and expressive. One is not happy unless one has a purpose in living. We do not teach people to sit still and monotonously repeat, God is all there is. For while it is true that God is all there is, it is also true that God is everything that is. The creative genius of the universe goes forth into action everywhere. Engage in the joy of living and do it with others. The well-integrated person gets along with other people, not by tolerance, but through cooperation. This is the game of life, and it must be played. And now back to Freddie. He has a new song this week called Daily Prayer.
Lord, you know who I am. As you know, my world's good and bad, and I've tried time again, and the door is closing, my friend. And I need to have more faith and some daily prayer. And I need to sing your song, and you will take me there. And I need to have more faith and some daily prayer. And I need to sing your song and some daily prayer. Ooh, some daily prayer will take me there, I know. Lord, you've blessed me so well, yeah. But I want more than you tell. I've been told to give thanks, my friend, and work hard, pray, believe, I'll ascend. And I need to have more faith and some daily prayer. And I need to sing your song, and you will take me there. And I need to have more faith and some daily prayer. And I need to sing your song, and you will take me there. Some daily prayer. And I need to have more faith and some daily prayer. And I need to sing your song, and you will take me there. And you need to have more faith, some daily prayer. And you need to sing his song, and he will take you there. And we need to have more faith and some daily prayer. And we need to sing his song, and he will take us there. Oh, daily prayer. Oh, daily prayer. He will take us there, oh Lord.
And thank you, Freddie. Thank you so much for that beautiful, beautiful piece of music. Folks, we've got to give it up to Freddie Rodriguez Jr. He has created so much music, new songs almost every week for this community, and we are so very, very blessed to have him here and with us every week. My name's Reverend Robert Brzezinski. I normally sit behind the scenes and push all the buttons for you on Sundays, and today I was asked, Reverend Elzia and Alice asked me if I'd sit out front and be out in front of the camera. So it's great to be with you again. Been a little while since we've had a chance to be together, and I love getting to be here with this community. Now today, what we're talking about is the talk of the title is called Just Faith It. And it's part of the CSL monthly series that we've been looking at all month long. And I have that name here, Faith to Fear, or From Fear to Faith, excuse me. And we've been looking at this whole month a series of talks that have taken that deep dive into what it is that we're being called to be and to do and to have and to experience in life. And the end of the month comes around here and we're asked to just faith it. Just faith it. Just give it all up and do nothing about anything and just faith it. Well, not exactly. I think we're being called to something a little bit different than just saying, oh, I give it up to God and God will do it. So we're going to dig into faith a little bit today. And I like to start with the Science of Mind textbook. If you haven't seen one of these in a while, by our founder, Ernest Holmes. There's this great part in the back that's called the glossary. And all the definitions to all kinds of words are back here, at least what Holmes's perspective was when he wrote this book. So I always like to turn back there. And for faith, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Now, that is a fairly famous quote around religious science, around the science of mind and New Thought movement. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. A little farther down, though, he writes this. In spiritual terminology, faith means a belief in the presence of the invisible principle and law, which directly and specifically responds to us. So we're dealing with a principle and a law that's going to respond directly to what we put into that law. Good, bad, indifferent, whatever it might be, what we put out into the world. Now, if this is your first time with us, this might be new. If you've been around this movement at all, you know this. What we put out there is what comes back to us in form. And that's why I love Freddie's song today, Daily Prayer. That's what it really comes back to. What is our daily practice? What is it that we are doing to create that mental atmosphere, a mental equivalent, if you will, of what it is we truly desire? We talk about that a lot in rooms like this, in video broadcasts like this. What do we really desire? What are you feeling called to be and to do? What are you here? What are the gifts that you're here to give? And we come to all of that. And as that starts to develop, what I notice is there is a tendency for folks to say, yeah, but sure, I like, but well, that's the way it is. That's the way it's always been. Or, that's just the way I've always been. We can bring that slide up now this time. This is a little bit deeper of an explanation from Holmes on what happens here, right? We should be careful not to divide our mental house against itself. First and foremost, when we're in that place of questioning, not sure, should I, what's my decision going to be, we've got to ask, how do I make sure that I don't divide myself? So continuing, having announced the law of liberty, we must not deny it. When we shall all know the truth, then ways and means and methods will be found for the freedom of all. The mold of acceptance is the measure of our experience. Now, the infinite fills that mold and forever flows into new and greater ones. Within us is the unborn possibility of limitless experience. Ours is the privilege of giving birth to it. So when we shall all know the truth, then the ways and the means, the people, the connections, the opportunities, the experiences, when we know that absolute truth, then everything necessary to fulfill that truth comes pouring into our lives. That is the demonstration of our faith. So let's make this real. Let's bring this into an actual human experience. Number of years back, I had the great pleasure to pick up my family, pack them into a big, long 26-foot truck and a car behind that with a trailer behind that, and we moved to Washington State. And in this experience, we had a house set up. We had a house that we were intending to rent. Everything was there. Everything was in place. Well, just about everything was in place. And as we set off on this road trip to Washington State, the only thing we were waiting for was for my one piece of paperwork to come back. And the day before we're about to arrive in Washington State, we're driving along the highway in Oregon, coming down from Hood River down in towards Portland. It's a beautiful, beautiful drive. And for the first time in the entire trip, we switched up who was in what vehicles, and my darling wife was in the truck with me up front, and my brother, who had been with me in the truck, jumped into the back car with the kids and the animals, and he took that. We had a chance to talk, and we're driving down the highway, and as we're driving, I asked my wife, so what are we waiting for on the house? She says, just your background check. And I started laughing, like, well, then we're not waiting on anything, because I got no worries with my background check. I'm pretty sure my background, I know my background's clean, but I'm pretty sure a housing rental company, they're not going to go anywhere near as deep as CSL did for my ordination and other things. So I know I don't have a problem. We're going to drive down. 2 minutes later, the phone rings. My wife picks it up. It's our agent who is working on the house for us. We figure she's calling to tell us that, the background, everything's good, and we're going to meet you at the house at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, and there's the keys. And no, what she tells us is that the housing agency, the owner of the house, has decided to sell the home and not rent the home. And so she does not have a home for me to move into tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. when I'm intending to be in Washington State. My wife looks at me. There's a little bit of fear in her eyes. And I got to be honest, it took a minute for me. And she said, what do we do? I said, you start praying, and I'm going to keep driving, and we're going to get to Portland, and we're going to open up the computer, and we're going to see what goes on, what's available. Pulled into Portland about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, not expecting anybody to ever answer a phone call on a rental property after 5 p.m. Opened up my computer, pulled up the website, boom, there's a little purple dot right there, house for rent. Call the number. Guy actually calls me back 20 minutes later. Half hour later, I'm faxing over information to him. And before we went to dinner, he said, okay, I'll have somebody at the house at 9 a.m. We'll meet you at the house at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Kids and my wife drove up early, left a little earlier than I did with the truck, made better time. She walked through the house. By the time I arrived with the truck, she said, "We can do this." And we had a house. That is the demonstration of absolute faith. But that faith had to be activated by the prayer work that we did. That was the key. We can't just sit there and say, "Oh, okay, well, yeah, something's going to work. God's got this." Yeah, God's got this. And I've got to be in that place where I can share what it is we want. We've got to be clear. We needed 5 bedrooms. We needed, this had to happen. This had to be there. Anything, we do that work in our prayer work. We come into that place of knowing that there is a truth, often greater than I know. So when we talk about prayer, spiritual mind treatment, we're talking about an affirmation of truth. The affirmation of truth that we already know, and we're open to a revelation of a greater truth that may emerge. We're open that this is a both and kind of thing. It's a partnership that I have with the divine. It's a partnership that you have with the divine. But we have to be there. It's got to be active. It's got to be alive. Prayer work is not just, yes, there is one God and that God's me, and that prayer work has got to have passion. It is that place where our the mental and the emotional combine, and we create something that can never be repeated and never would need to be, because every prayer is complete in itself. So just faithing it, yes. And the prayer work, my daily practice, is an absolute vital aspect of all of that. In my research for this talk, I ran into another quote by a Unity minister, and we'll bring that up. Jim Rosemergy, I believe is how this is pronounced, and I do hope I'm saying that right, Jim. And Jim is still alive and on the planet somewhere, so you never know, he might hear this someday. But I found this quote and I loved it. Action without prayer / meditation leads to exhaustion. Think about it. Running around all day without taking a few moments to be in prayer, without centering ourselves through meditation, through our spiritual practices, no wonder you're exhausted by 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Prayer and meditation will buoy us. He also says prayer or meditation without action leads to self-absorption. So we cannot just sit around waiting. I've often said that you can sit in prayer wishing for prosperity, and the longer you sit there does not increase how soon God's going to drop a gold brick in your hand. It just doesn't happen that way. You got to get up off the cushion and do the work. Now more than ever, folks, I believe we are all being called to get up off the cushion and get about doing the work. Get about doing the work of creating a world that works for everyone. Get about doing the work in awakening ourselves and making sure that we're doing our work so that others are inspired to do their work. Letting ourselves be a living demonstration, a living model of how to use prayer and meditation and journaling and visioning and all of the spiritual practices that we teach here. Letting all of that be a demonstration so others may say, hey, I can do that too. And collectively, we each start to give our gifts. We each give more than we've ever been able to give before. And we're creating a world differently, a world that works for everyone. So this week, as you go out into the world, I highly encourage you, keep that concept in mind, that your prayer work is what activates your faith. And when there's something happening in your life that you'd like to have differently, have faith, absolute faith, that there is an unseen presence and law that will act according to your beliefs. And we change our beliefs and we empower our beliefs through the power of our prayer, or the work we do in prayer. So let's do some of that. What do you say? If you're with me and you're comfortable, please allow yourself to close your eyes and Oh, join in as we move into that place of really knowing. It is here in this moment that I come to recognize the one power, one presence, one infinite intelligence that is the lifeblood, the expression, the experience of everything, of all life. From the creepy crawly creatures to the furry creatures, the plants and the flowers and the flora of the planet, to everyone, every human being, every alien being, whatever, any form of life on this planet, a divine expression of the one, whole and complete with nothing missing. So I recognize that each one here, each one that hears these words now or at another time, each one is a divine, unique emanation of God, of the one, of the love. Each one is a conduit through which love and light and beauty and truth and health and wealth and well-being and a prosperity flow. Each one is an activation of God's great love and God's great creative force on this planet. So I claim for each one here, each one that hears these words, that deep sense of knowing, that deep sense of assurance that all is well, that deep feeling, that deep sense of faith that everything's happening just as it must, that all the resources, all the connections, all the opportunities, everything necessary for the fulfillment of each individual mission on this planet comes forth exactly as necessary. I claim for each that deep sense of faith and knowing that as we activate the beliefs, as we activate the principles of this mighty philosophy in the world, then we are bringing forth a new way of being, then we are part of the transformation team. I claim for each one that deep sense of knowing that together we are creating a world that works for everyone. Together we are creating the conditions and the opportunities for all of humanity to awaken to their spiritual magnificence. As one human body, collectively, bringing forth this great vision of a world that works for everyone. That is what we are about. And so I invite each one into that place of knowing, really, really knowing that all is well, that everything's working out exactly as it must, that the highest and the best for everyone is revealing itself right here, right now, beyond the appearances, beyond the misperceptions, beyond what it looks like in the world. We give none of that any power, and we stay focused on the one, stay focused on the true, stay focused on our faith, and activating that faith through prayer. I am so very grateful to be a part of this experience, to be present to this opportunity, this thing that's happening right now that we call life. So very grateful to be a conduit through which God reveals truth, and most especially grateful to know that God's already got all this. That the Divine One is already on the job, already operating upon my prayer, your prayer, the prayers of each one across this planet. The Almighty One is already operating upon this word. So I release this word into that law of life, that law of the universe, that law of everything that is saying yes to this truth, and I let it be. And if any word of this has resonated with you in any way, please join me in an affirmation of truth as we say together. And so it is. And so it is. Thank you, dear ones. Thank you so much for being with me on this. And thank you for being a part of the Center for Spiritual Living Denver. Thank you for being a part of this just incredible ministry. And it is thanks to you that this ministry is doing the work that it's doing, and that we're able to continue on through this time of change and transformation. There's a link that's going to come across the bottom of your screen. It's in your donation. It's in the description of this video as well, where you can give of your gifts, your tithes, your offerings, whatever it is, energetically give, because it is in the giving that we receive, and it is therefore part of that energetic prayer. We're going to move mountains together, and we're going to move money together. and it's going to come and flow into your life, and it's going to flow into the life that is the Center for Spiritual Living Denver. So please hit that text to give. It's easy. You just hit the buttons that are going across there. We take checks if you want to send a check. And the best part is you can donate online on the website as well. The donate button's gotten fixed. Big, huge thank you to Suzanne for doing that and making sure that happens. So if you will, please take your gift or your tithe and your offering in your hand, hold it to your heart, and recite with me. I know it's a little corny doing this online, but please say it with me. This perfect gift is spirit informed, circulating and blessing all that it touches. Freely I give, and joyously I receive. And so it is.
Thank you, Reverend Robert. Beautiful, beautiful talk, and a lot of food for thought for us to move forward in our life in faith. And so we have a last few final announcements. Please know that our practitioners are available for prayer work with you. We would love to pray with you. So you can go online to www.csldenver.org, and our names and phone numbers are there. And we are happy to spend time doing some prayers with you. And earlier in the announcements, Reverend Robert mentioned that we are doing the online Zoom fellowship today. I sent out an email earlier this morning. If you did not receive it, please send an email to info@cslddenver.org, and I will send you the Zoom invitation. And remember that next Sunday, October 4th, after the service from 11 to 1, we have Haley Korf, who will be hosting a virtual healing trauma workshop. And she is, this is her specialty. This is what she is trained to do. So in this time of sheltering in place and political unrest, people may be experiencing feelings of trauma. This workshop will identify different types of trauma, how trauma affects us, as well as learning useful skills for coping with stress and trauma. We could all use that, I think. This class will also be on Zoom, and the cost is a love offering. So send an email to info@cslddenver.org and let us know that you're interested in Haley's workshop, and we will send you that link. And now back to Freddie to close up our service. Thank you so much for joining us today. We love you and we miss you.
Change